What is up, Knicks fans? Welcome back to yet another episode of Fireside Knicks with your hosts, Dylan and Davin. And today we're going to talk about the Knicks offense and how potent it's been. Last night against the Charlotte Hornets, putting up 125 points. It feels like every single night now they're putting up that many amount of points. They have the number one offense in the NBA for a reason. Karl-Anthony Towns is now in the MVP ladder at number 5. The offense as a whole is just rolling. It feels like every single player is contributing positively on that end of the floor. So we're going to sit here and talk about it today. So Davin, first off, tell me how you're doing. And secondly, what are some of your biggest takeaways from this offense? Because it feels like everyone is going crazy on that end of the floor.
Doing great as always, man. Thank you for asking. And honestly, the Knicks are firing on all cylinders. Like you said, Cat top 5 in MVP race, Brunson career high in assist right now. OG playing like a perennial all-star. Miles McBride talking six-man of the year conversation. You got Josh Hart being Josh Hart. I mean, one of the best rollmen in the league. And this is the best offense in the league right now. I really can't say too much about the testament that these guys are doing as far as everyone's buying into it. There's a situation like you see how great this chemistry is right now where Karl-Anthony Towns was changing his shorts yesterday. And they made like a little small mini huddle there, and everyone like they really kind of fast got around like little stuff like that, just little nuance that you see that these guys are really on the same page all the time. And that's really what you love to see. I love seeing that Karl-Anthony Towns in the MVP race right now. Brunson yesterday getting 24 on 8 shots is also getting overlooked of how good these guys are. The fact that he can have a game like that and not being talked about too much. But on 8 shots, he's prolific right now in figuring out his game, figuring out exactly how he needs to impact the game as far as having a career high in assists at the same time. If he can do 24 points on 8 shots, this guy, he's not even at his peak yet. But beyond that, we have Mikal Bridges playing like an Iron Man of the past couple games. OG Anunoby actually had a stretch there where he had like a few, like he was averaging like a terrible percentage, like 22% from the field over 3 games, but he's bounced back really over the last 2 games now. So, yeah, everyone's looking prolific right now, man. You love to see it.
Yeah, and you know, something that really struck me last night against Charlotte. Yes, again, I know it's the Charlotte Hornets, so me doing victory laps around them sounds kind of weird, but I'm going to do it anyway because the Knicks are being the Knicks right now and they're doing good, so I'm going to do that. But anyway, one of the things that really stood out to me yesterday was the scoring share, right? You had 6 guys in double figures, and you feel like that's been a common occurrence this season. I'm pretty sure that's like by far the most in the NBA, the amount of times they've had that many people score in double figures, or at least the starting 5. But really what struck me was that it seemed like each quarter a different guy was going off. You know, the first quarter was Jalen Brunson's quarter. He had 19 points, was perfect from 3, all that stuff. He kept the Knicks in the game after they really started that game off slow. You know, they found themselves down 16-4 and down by 10 at one point in that quarter, and then Brunson just carried him back into the game with just going crazy on his threes. And then the second quarter was Josh Hart's quarter. You know, he had 14 points in that quarter, went 4 of 4 from 3, which is something you don't really see from Josh Hart. You know, you don't really see him taking that many threes, period, and he was knocking them all down. I mean, if he's going to be shooting like that, then the sky is the limit for this offense. And I know I've been saying that phrase a lot, but it really is true. This offense can be one of the best ever if Josh Hart is shooting like that. If he's going to be scoring at a rate like that, oh man, I don't know how you're stopping this offense. And then, back to what I was saying about the game yesterday, then the third quarter you had OG Anunoby going crazy. You had OG Anunoby putting up, a bunch of points, dropping threes, getting steals and dunks in transition. Felt like he got most of his 25 points in that third quarter. He was just going crazy in that quarter, as like I was just saying. And then Karl-Anthony Towns having a good game overall throughout the night, finishing with 27 points, 16 rebounds. He now leads the NBA in double-doubles this season with 19. He also is second in the league in rebounding with 13.2 per game. I mean, this guy's been unbelievable. He's been better than advertised. And, I think a lot of people, including myself, kind of owe Cat an apology. I think we really do, because I was someone even, about a year and a half ago who was highly against the Cat trade, who was highly against, trading for Cat, highly against, I did not think he'd be a good fit. I didn't think that, the lack of defense, I thought that'd be an issue. I was wrong. This guy can hoop. This guy is really good. I love Julius Randle. I thought he was amazing for the Knicks, but the way Cat is performing, I've already kind of forgotten about him, honestly. I'm not missing him as much with the way Cat is playing. The Knicks are looking dominant. They look unstoppable. And when the guys are clicking like this, when all 5 starters are scoring in double figures, they're able to split the scoring share up. They're moving the ball well, making nice reads, not turning the ball over too. How can you stop this offense? How? At that point, the only way you can stop the offense is if they beat themselves, if they have a bad night shooting. That's really the only way, because every single one of these guys is getting the job done on that end of the floor. I think the defense needs to shore up still a little bit, but I think over the past 3 games, they've kind of figured it out a little bit on that end of the floor. They started the last game off pretty bad on defense, I'll admit. They gave up 32 points or something like that in the first quarter to a Hornets team that once again was just Brandon Miller and friends. But, at the same time, when you look at the second half, they shut them down. I mean, that third quarter, they outscored them, I think, 38-16, and it would have been 38-13 if Brandon Miller didn't hit a heavily contested half-court heave to end that third quarter. But at that point, they were up by 25 or something like that, so it didn't even matter. You know what I mean? So, really just looking at this offense, though, as a whole, it sounds bold for me to say they can really be the best offense ever for a single team in a single season. They really can. Obviously, it would take a lot for that to happen, but, I mean, guys, how often do you see a team with all 5 starters scoring at this high of a rate? All 5 starters are averaging about 14 points per game, even Josh Hart. I mean, Josh Hart averaging 14 points per game? This is a guy who was averaging single figures in points for most of his career. I mean, I really don't know where to begin with this. I mean, it's insane how they're playing right now. I think they're moving the ball very well. They're really starting to get chemistry going. We're only 22 games in, folks. We haven't even hit Christmas yet. Wait until we hit Christmas, wait until we hit January, the trade deadline, all that stuff. If they're going to really be performing at a high level like this right now, just wait until then. Because the sky is the limit, once again, like I've been saying. They can really be something special. I want to give you a chance to give some input on that, though, because there's a lot we can talk about with this offense. It's insane.
No, really, really great points with Carl G. Towns. He's averaging 23 and 15 in the last 6 games, shooting 52% from the floor, 42% from beyond the arc. And like you said, an MVP caliber player right now. And actually, I saw a stat on StatMuse on Twitter talking about number 1 in 2010 games is Giannis. Number 2 is Carl Anthony Towns. Number 3 is Nikola Jokic. Those are 2 former MVPs. Cat's in the middle of that conversation right now as far as 2010 games go in the league. And he's kind of pushing his whole entire offense the way it's going. He's all running off Carl Anthony Towns, in my opinion. He is the perennial. He's the star in this offense. It's kind of where everyone plays around as they should because he shows the best effort on both sides. I'm honestly with you say it like this. During this whole entire run, the Knicks are the second best defense in this winning streak right now. The second best defensive rating in the league. And that's really beyond the tone that Cat's setting, the impact that OG Anunoby is playing with on both sides of the ball, which is creating an easier offense for the Knicks. The pacing hasn't went up too much. Pacing still, I think they're 25th ranked now. They've only moved up like 3 spots. But even that, the fact that this winning streak, these guys have the second best defensive rating, it's all about the tone being set. It's all about the tenacity they're showing on both sides of the ball. And I really have to applaud OG Anunoby and Carl Anthony Towns for the impact that they're providing on the floor. Yeah, Josh Hart's going to be phenomenal. I can't honestly. It's an honor to watch Josh Hart play basketball. I have to say that more often because this guy is not. I said this on Twitter. If you could take 5 Josh Harts versus 5 skilled guys, I'm taking the 5 Josh Harts every time. These guys are not losing. He does everything on the floor you can imagine. I could really talk about him the whole entire episode, to be quite honest with you, because that's how good he's been. And that when he went 4 for 4, that had me look. Because I was getting off work actually, and I had to watch the game back. And I had seen. I never like to watch the highlights and stuff. Turn my notifications off. So seeing Josh Hart, just impact the game the way it was in the second. Like, they're actually giving him these shots. And he's chirping at the bench over there. He's chirping at LaMelo Ball. Like, you're giving me these shots. You got to change up the game plan a little bit because it's not going to work. And that's how confident he is in his own game. That's how how confident this whole entire group is. And like I said, I saw the defensive rating over the last few games, and they just got Precious Achiuwa back last night. Let's be serious here. This team it's the best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. Mitchell Robinson is going to be back here after Christmas, and these guys are going to be on the roll. And we see this how easy this schedule is in December, man. You couldn't ask for anything better. You really couldn't.
Yeah, and as now that you mentioned the easy December schedule, I mean, you can't be complacent at the same time though. As much as this offense has been, you can't take your foot off the gas and kind of let these other teams beat you because these younger teams, these lesser good teams, if you will, they're gonna want to try to beat the Knicks with the way that they're playing right now. The Knicks have now won 9 of their last 11 games. They're rolling right now. They're firing on all cylinders as we've been talking about. Second best defensive rating in the last 3 games, top offensive rating in the league overall. Teams are going to want to beat them. They're a team to beat right now. And, you can't take your foot off the gas and let these younger teams or depleted teams beat you. It looked like for that first quarter last night that they were going to kind of allow Charlotte to do exactly what they did last week, where they were just basically handling them most of the game, and then, you pull away late. But the Knicks, slow first half, better second quarter though, but a slow first half. Third quarter, they just took off. They took off and they showed what the Knicks really are. A much better team than the Hornets team. That's what they are, and that's what they should be doing. Now you have the Pistons tomorrow night, and you got to do the same thing. Take care of business. Destroy the Pistons once again. You destroyed the Pistons earlier this season already once. do it again. Take care of business. Jalen Brunson hasn't had to play a fourth quarter in 3 straight games, by the way, which I think is very noteworthy because, Mikal Bridges also played 46 minutes last night for some reason. I really don't understand why he played 46 minutes, but I think it's at least important that, your captain and your best player is able to get some additional rest, but I mean, I'm not the coach. I don't understand why Thibodeau played Bridges 46 minutes in a blowout. I'm not going to really dig too deep into that because obviously he didn't get injured, he didn't seem tired, and the Knicks ended up winning the game anyway, so it didn't really matter. But you could let Dottier play a little bit. It's okay, Tibbs. We're up by 30. It's okay. You can play those other guys a little bit, but that's besides the point. I think really, at the end of the day, we're talking about this offense, as if it's only Karl-Anthony Towns, but it's not. Josh Hart's been doing great. Mikal Bridges has been a lot better lately. OG Anunoby is having a career season where he's averaging close to 20 points per game. And this all goes without saying how good Jalen Brunson has been. Jalen Brunson is averaging 25 on good efficiency once again. He's having a great season. I know a lot of people tried to say he's having a down season, but he's not. Yes, he started off the season a little slow. The efficiency was a little down. But he has since, fixed that, and he's once again being the Jalen Brunson that we all know and love, while also being an efficient playmaker. This is a guy who isn't exactly known to be a playmaker. This is a score-first guard, and he's had to kind of take on a playmaking role with the other options that are out there with him. And look how beautiful it's working. Everyone is scoring at a high rate. Everyone's getting at least 20 points. The Knicks are winning by 30 points in these games. They're scoring 120 points. Their average margin of victory in this winning streak is 18 points, by the way, and that includes the 1-point win against Charlotte. So if you take away the 1-point win against Charlotte, then you're looking at like a 25-point differential for your margin of victory or something like that. So when they beat these teams, they beat them big time. And it's not just the bad teams that they're doing this to, because they also did this to a red-hot Orlando Magic team, who, yes, is missing Paolo Banchero, but they are still one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. Franz Wagner is in the MVP conversation as well. He is 6th on that MVP ladder, so he's right behind Towns. And, of course, they did this to the Phoenix Suns on the road, did this to the Denver Nuggets on the road. Yes, Phoenix Suns were missing Kevin Durant, but they still had Devin Booker, and you were on the road in the West Coast. You demolished them there. You beat a healthy Nuggets team on the road. They've beaten some good teams. And obviously, I understand that this December schedule is very light, so we can't look at the schedule and the outlook of this month and go, oh, well, the Knicks did so good this month. Well, you got to consider their opponent. They're supposed to beat the bad teams, but when they play the better teams and they handle them as well, that makes me feel really good about this team. And so far, I mean, they have done a good job at kind of handling the good teams. Yes, they've had a couple bad losses, lost to Dallas, very good team. Obviously, they were missing Luka Doncic. You got smacked by the Celtics on opening night. You lost to the Cavaliers earlier in the season. I know they've had their troubles against some good teams, but good teams are gonna lose to good teams. That's part of the league. It's part of the game. That's why no teams in the league really go 73-9 anymore. This isn't the Golden State Warriors of the mid 2010s. So really, just looking at all that stuff without rambling and stuff, I just want to say this offense is phenomenal. I think that really, if they fix the defense, they can be a top 3 team in the NBA. I think it's that simple. I think you can already argue that they're a top 5 team. I think you can really get them to being a top 3 team if you get them to fix the defense, because when you have an offense that prolific, it's already tough to beat a team like that. And if you got them clamping up on defense as well, good luck. Good luck. That's all I got to say to the opposing teams. Good luck. I want to give you one more chance, though, to chime in on that, because I could talk about this offense all day. I could talk about all 5 of these starters and some of the guys off the bench. This goes without me even mentioning Deuce McBride, Cameron Payne, guys like that. But I don't want to make the episode too long, so I want to give you an opportunity to chime in once more before we wrap it up.
No, yeah, the offense, that's where it is. The bread and butter, in my opinion, that's where we're going to make things work. Defensively, though, that's where things have to be sustainable. And I think OG Anunoby, actually, as far as everyone else has been sustaining their role, and Anunoby's going to be, I think he's been the most consistent as far as sustaining what he has to do, as far as applying himself on defense and then turning that to offense, because that's really what the Knicks need, as far as raising how they play in transition, getting easier points, easier scores. And then Anunoby's going to get his 10 to 12 a game simply off of playing great defense and creating offense off of that. Now, on top of adding his 10 to 15 that he adds just going into plays, I mean, that's just going to be Anunoby's game. So he's going to be sticking around 18 to 21 points per game, I think, the entire season. And that's kind of where the tone is being set on defense. I love the fact those 2 blocks he had, the second animated block he had, he's running into the crowd and everything. And Anunoby's really gaining fanfare right now with the Knicks as far as what he's playing, the rugged style. And that's why I think Josh Hart's such a fan favorite. People love the way these guys play basketball, really blue-collar basketball we're seeing right now with the Knicks. And it's going to be sustainable. That's what it's all about. We got these big guys coming back. We got Precious Chua showing some positive minutes in his time played yesterday, which is very exciting. I didn't anticipate him playing at all. I knew he was questionable, and then see Precious Chua get out there is like, we're getting back to it, man. We're getting back to it, and then Robinson's going to come back. We're going to be all good to go. But it's really what it's all about, in my opinion. Having a top 10 defense around there will be just fine because we're going to keep the best offense the whole entire season. I'm not trying to knock on wood really quickly, but no one, even if someone went down with an injury, we have these guys that can come up and really perform like they're supposed to be. Mikal Bridges playing 46 minutes, like you said, that's a question. I really don't understand what Tibbs' goal is right there. But in my opinion, he is the Iron Man. Let him do his thing at the same time. We're going to need this guy. We're going to need this guy down the stretch. We know he will. Say anybody goes out, I can understand why he's playing the big minutes. Say someone does go out, he's going to be that number one option per se, something like that. Then we're going to have great Mikal Bridges, 40-point games, something like that going on for the Knicks. But the ultimate green light's what I like to see from a guy if he's playing 46 minutes. It means he should get more buckets up, But beyond that, man, it's going to be a great season. And I'm going to let you finish it off before we get wrapped up here.
Yeah, I mean, and I want to mention something too because you were talking about, the fan favorites with Hart and Anunoby, and I think, the way those guys play and the rest of the guys play off of that energy, I think that's a product of the coach. I think that's a product of Tom Thibodeau, and I had that conversation with my brother last night about that, so I'm mentioning it on here. It's a product of the coach. It really is. I mean, Tom Thibodeau gets the most out of these guys. He gets these guys to work hard and hustle. I mean, you saw last night they're up by 30 points and they're still, playing tough defense, stifling defense, not giving any easy buckets for the Hornets or anything like that. Scoring at free will. They just do what they want out there. Especially when they're at home too. They're 8-2 at home this year, and if you're a good home team, you're going to be very, very tough to beat. Very tough. I mean, it's already tough to win at Madison Square Garden in general because of that crowd and the energy and all that stuff. But if you're winning these games at home too, you're dominating teams at home. I don't know what to say. I don't know how a team can stop that. It sounds like I'm really speaking highly about the Knicks right now, but I think it's warranted. They're playing like a contender right now. We made a video the other day talking about how they're playing like contenders. They're playing like true championship contenders. I don't care that they're beating the Hornets, the Pelicans, or whatever, and people want to say, oh, but you're beating these bad teams, blah, blah, blah. They're dominating them, though. They're dominating these bad teams. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what a good team does. A good team will absolutely wipe the floor against a bad team. That's what a good team does. They might lose some games to good teams. Maybe they'll have a game once in a while where they drop one to a bad team. It happens. Every single team goes through that. We've seen the Celtics be in overtime with the Raptors this year, for crying out loud. You know what I mean? So it's going to happen once in a while. But no matter who the Knicks are playing, a win is a win, one. But secondly, if they're dominating these bad teams, that tells me that they're going to hang their own against good teams as well. It does. I mean, and I've seen them beat good teams this year already. I don't need to see them only beat good teams. Yes, I want to see them beat good teams more often than not. Don't get me wrong. But it's not only about that. If you're dominating the bad teams, that means you're doing something right. That's the way I see it, and the Knicks are doing exactly that right now behind this potent offense, and that's why I really think they can be one of the best offenses ever. And like you said too, even if someone, God forbid, goes down, right? We have so many different options to kind of take over and lead the charge. Mikal Bridges has experience as a number one option. He can lead the charge if something were to happen. We still have Karl-Anthony Towns out there who's also had plenty of number one option experience. You know what I mean? So that's another guy right there. Josh Hart being the Iron Man still and being able to kind of, uplift his game a little bit when he needs to. We've seen him do it in the postseason before. That's another guy right there. OG Anunoby taking the leap offensively. Deuce McBride stepping in if he needs to. He's a good spark off the bench. Cameron Payne as well. They have plenty of guys with good experience, and they're starting to get healthier now, and they can really be something special. I do think this team is still a little incomplete. I think they can at least, they can kind of fortify the bench a little bit. I think we're still lacking some wing depth back there, but that's a conversation we can have closer to the trade deadline, and I do think the Knicks are going to be in the market for some sort of front court depth, whether it's a wing or a center, something like that. I fully expect the Knicks to be in the market for a player in that position area. But I don't really have much else to say about this, and I don't think you do either, so I do think this is a good place to wrap the episode up. The Knicks offense has been phenomenal, so we're just going to wrap it up here. Let us know what you got to say about the Knicks offense, though, in the comment section below, because it has been tremendous to see so far, and we would love to hear what you guys think about it. You can follow us on all of our social media platforms. We're on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and, of course, this YouTube page that you were watching the video on. You can follow our personal Twitter accounts. They're right there above our heads, and we will see you guys in the next episode of Fireside Knicks. Peace out.